Text me and I'll text you back.
Text me and I'll text you back.
Text me then I'll text you back.
You text me then I'll text you back.
Text me then I'll text you back.
TikTok, you don't stop.
I will help you make your paper stack.
Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Where you at now?
205-964-5243. Now you
Yep,
know.
yep.
205-964-5243. Now you know.
Welcome to Wholesaling Real Estate investing with a strong emphasis on putting real estate deals together without using your cash or credit, aka wholesaling. So we're here to answer your questions. You have a title here, $10,000 per month, wholesaling houses in your PJs. We're going to get to it. Stick around, stick around to that. It's probably just going to come out naturally, but we'll put an emphasis on it. We have the daytime crew here from the daily lives, along with Renikia. So Adriel should be back next week. But we're in here to answer your questions and maybe have a little fun at the same time. So it went out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. What is going on with that camera?
The battery dead.
It don't look like it's charging either.
Mm-hmm.
What
It
happened?
was, though. I don't know why.
Okay.
Is there a shortage maybe in the cord or something? Oh, hold on. Is this it?
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's pushed down.
Yeah, that's in there. Damn it. All right, so we'll have to use this other one.
Yeah, it would have had to have some more battery for it to stay on.
Yeah. In here?
No, just dig it and just pull this one out. Yeah. Just put that one in there. Yeah. That should fix it. So now you, let me see.
Do I hit add to screen?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just the why is it doing that? Let me see audio. Oh, we changed it. You pulled out the
Oh, you want that camera?
then you go down here to this. And you got the camera, go to audio. And then external should be good.
Okay.
Oh, so, all right.
We're in live.
Camera we just purchased went out. It won't stay charged. I wonder what's going on with that. But anyway, so we're here to answer your questions about wholesaling real estate. We should have plenty of questions already here with these technical difficulties going on. So let's get it.
All right. First question is on TikTok. They want to know where are you from?
We're in Birmingham, Alabama.
So far, they just saying what's up.
What's going on? What's going on? So while we're waiting, one of the biggest reasons why people never do a wholesale deal is because they can't figure out what a great deal is. We got a video to help you with that. Just text the letters GD to the phone number here, 205-964-5243. That video will assist you with on figuring that all out. So, we still don't have any questions?
No, everybody's just saying
Hello.
hello.
Okay, so,
Hello, Footman, everybody. What's up for
I
Detroit,
guess while we're
Michigan?
waiting, Renika, introduce yourself and,
Um,
you offer.
Great. Well, my name is Nikia. I am one of the co-hosts here at the Footman Show. I specialize in funding and capital, and of course, just real estate investing as a whole. And I'm pretty sure I'll get into that spill a little bit later about taking your real estate to the next level. We talk about no money, no money down real estate. That's exactly what wholesaling is. But at some point in time, you may need some money to put towards marketing to get the tools that you really need. So being able to leverage your credit so you can invest back into your business is a key component or taking your business to the next level, or a key component that can take your business to the next level. Or if you're ready to do fix and flip, buy and hold, new construction, development, we have those loan options as well. And I'm pretty sure I'll speak more about it later today, this evening.
Boom. All right. So while we're still waiting, also got a new target here project, text to word units. If you want to partner with me, that video you'll get back as far as a link will explain more. One of the good things about this, doesn't matter how small the town is in most cases in this situation. So so if you text the word units to that number, a lot of people ask about the contract. You can access that along with an instructional video for sellers and buyers by simply texting the word contract to the number above 205-9644, 205-964-5243.
That's what the jingle's for.
Yeah, it is.
All right, we got a couple on TikTok. Will I need earnest money deposit if it's my first wholesale deal?
First, second, third, 200,
All the
all the above, yeah.
every one of them.
Every
Key
one of them
component,
gonna need earnest money. See,
All right, their second part of the question is what great sources for contacts and such. So
contacts?
So how can they get contacts to different properties?
Oh, skip tracing. You download a list and there are a lot of skip tracing services out there. I'm affiliated with one. So if you text the word skip, SKIP, to the 205-964-5243, that video will assist you with getting contact information.
All right, this is also on TikTok. What advice would you give to someone who is nervous to start wholesaling as a grad student?
At the end of the day, one of the best ways to hopefully remove some of the nervous feeling that you have is to try to educate yourself as much as possible. So you'll simply have a better idea of what you're doing. Now, even with all the education, if you have no experience, it still can be a nervous feeling, but you're just gonna have to get over that, period. So, but the best thing to do is to equip yourself with the most knowledge to make sure you're prepared when you're actually trying to pursue it.
I agree. I think confidence is directly correlated to fear. And everything is directly correlated to your confidence in that subject, in that walk. So the more you're educated in what it is that you're talking about, fear, there's no fear to make a phone call when you already understand exactly how to handle that and handle those different conversations. So I would say to take the fear out of it. First of all, one of the things one of my mentors or colleagues always told me, you got to feel the fear and do it anyway. And fear is a part of just doing something in the unknown. Feel it and do it anyway. But the more educated you are, it takes the fear out of just being confident in your conversation.
All right, this one is from Cal Brown from YouTube. He said, "Hey, Flip and ladies, are you set up to do a comp tonight?"
No, we're not.
All right, this one's from King what 84 on YouTube. He said, "How and what do you start with when you find a vacant home for sale?"
What was your question?
Um, I guess I could start that. It's a great question. So that's pretty much the start. Many homes, or many transactions, a vacant home, or a home that has a property in it. I think the number one key is you find a vacant home that you don't know the homeowner. First, you got to locate the homeowner. You have to locate the homeowner and let them know that you are interested in purchasing and see if they're interested in selling. Once you begin to have that skill, you want to know what they want to sell it for. And from there, you just do your due diligence for the property and the contract. Market yourself to find an end buyer if you already doesn't have that. Once you do find that end buyer, sign that contract to the end buyer, and then go to the closing table. Yeah, pretty. It's not simple. I probably just made it a little simple in that conversation, but it's really that simple. Locating that homeowner, figuring out if they want to sell. If they do want to sell, come to a conclusion of what you all want, what they want to sell it for, and what you want to purchase it for. Assign your contract to your end buyer, and then send both of those contracts to the closing attorney, so you can go to the closing table.
All right, first question on Instagram. How exactly can a realtor benefit me?
Well, definitely on the buyer side, some realtors can benefit you greatly. If you text the word buyers to the phone number 205-964-5243, in that video, I show you how to leverage realtors, some realtors' relationships with investors, fix and flippers. All right. On the seller side, it's just going to depend. I don't know, unless they're going to bring you some off-market stuff like some pocket listings, quote unquote, or something that they know that you can possibly get a good deal on before it hits the market, or maybe, and then something that's on the market, they may know the seller wants to accept something a lot less, so that could be a possibility. It's just jumping through those hoops, but it has to be to your benefit. Most realtors don't get it. I'm not saying all, but most realtors don't get it on that seller side for sure. So if they're not willing to do it, like I had a student sent me over, this is a friend of mine, a realtor, he understands. So guess what? When it got down to it, they still wanted $1,000 earnest money. They still wanted proof of funds. I said, I thought you said your friend understood what you were doing.
We can bypass on it.
I'm like, we went over this. So anyway, well, what you think? Renika's real estate, so she can tell you better than me for sure.
No, that was great answers. I mean, I know in the role of realtors, they say it's a buyer agent and a seller agent, but at the end of the day, an agent is going to be on whatever side they need to be on. And most agents, some listing agent is like, no, all we do is list. But at the end of the day, they can still be a buyer's agent too. So every agent can play both sides. I think one of the key components is to really agree with what Ty just stated, especially on the seller side. What you want to do is position yourself with all these realtors, because you got to think about it. The first place, the person want to sell their property, they're not calling some private investor, who they don't know. They're going to locate a local broker or a local real estate agent, or just a real estate agent of the family to sell that property. That's usually the number one place a person is going to go to first. They don't know all these investors who can buy it, so they're going to go there first. So when you position yourself in connection with realtors, you're able to, like Ty stated, hey, do you have any properties before it hits the market? I can sell it in 7 to 10 days. What realtor really wants it to hit the market and whatever the case may be, if they can get almost full price for it without it hitting the market, still get paid and things of that nature, it's a win-win for realtors too. You bring a buyer to your seller or your listing within a few days. That's actually bonus points if a realtor can do that. So when you position yourself with these realtors, you let them know that, hey, if you can send me your properties before you put it on the market, I can see if it's something I want to purchase before you even put it on the market. It saves them time, effort, and everything, and energy to what they got to do to even put them listings on the market. So that's a great benefit there. And then, of course, there's a benefit on the back end for comps, because, of course, realtor is able to pull comps. All those, there's a lot of services out there that allows you to do comps too. Realtors can pull comps, and then on top of that, once you do rehab the property, you may want to put it on the market so you can get the greatest exposure. So having that realtor for that as well is a great benefit.
All right, Mark on TikTok asks, I have a property I currently rent in. The landlord is willing to sell. What do you think I should do?
Well, it's going to start with no different than any other situation. What does he want to sell it for? You know, what's the ARV? What's the condition of it? As far as repairs, you live there. That's what he said, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, still now, the only issue it may be with that, I don't know your financial situation. You know, you might, but I don't know. So if it's a situation where you think the landlord wouldn't think you have enough money to buy it because they've been dealing with you on a business level as a tenant and a landlord, then don't approach them. Let someone else that you know approach them that he doesn't know that you know is the way I would handle that, right? Because he may not take you serious. Or you want to at least ask him this, is that, hey, I know you want to sell it. Are you selling it because you don't want to be a landlord and you're tired of cash flow? Or would love to continue to receive the cash flow, but remove the landlord and responsibilities? If he answers yes to B, saying he wants to continue to receive the cash flow, but remove the landlord and responsibilities, then you have possibly a perfect opportunity to turn that property that you're renting into some home ownership through owner financing, right? So it's just going to depend on where you think their head is and where their head is about you. So.
I agree.
All right.
I agree.
What do you think?
No, I agree. I mean, it's a numbers game. They may want to sell it, but if it's overpriced and it doesn't make sense, then that's a different situation. But I think to start with the numbers for sure. And then from there, there's multiple options, like Ty said, on financing, or get some type of financing for you to purchase it, in some type of way.
All right. This is a question for both of you guys. What's the most challenging aspect of wholesaling for you?
I thought you were gonna go. You want to go first?
I could go first. I think, honestly, I think wholesaling is easy. The deal itself is easy. The transaction is easy. I think the people makes it a hard, in some cases. So I think sometimes dealing with the different parties is really what makes it harder. And what I mean by that, for an example, say for instance, I'm buying a property. If I don't get it directly from that homeowner, and then I buy a property from another, or I try to assign a property from another wholesaler, I don't know if that wholesaler really have the contract with the homeowner. So you got to just hope, that they have it or ask for it, and it's not in their benefit. I mean, they don't have to see that. So you almost got to hope that they got their side together while you go over and get your end buyer side together. So you got your end buyer to the table, and he don't even have the property, or she don't even have the property on the contract with the right buyer. So the deal is dead. So I think wholesaling itself is very, very easy. It's the most easiest transaction you can ever make. You don't have to put up a lot of money and be able to walk away with tons of it. I think people make the transaction harder, but what do you think?
Yeah, you really just nailed it. The process of wholesaling is just as simple as it sounds. I don't like to use the word easy. I don't want to confuse.
Right.
I don't want to confuse simple with being easy or easy with being simple. But like she said, the people make it more difficult in a lot of situations. Sometimes deals go through as smooth as a baby's bottom or whatever. That's going to happen also. You will have deals that you'll make the money so fast, you'll be like, dang, why aren't they all like that? All right, but probably for me, probably the most challenging thing is keeping everything organized, but that's more of a individual thing as a human being, period. But that's probably the most challenging thing, just making sure you just have just so much stuff going on, which, you know, I prefer that. You want so much activity going on, you don't know what to do with it, but it still needs to be organized. So just organization is probably the most difficult thing for me, but there are tools out there. You can always bring people in to help you, you know, with whatever you're weak at, and you at whatever point you can start to afford to do it, you need to get help with it, whatever you're weak at.
All right, so this one is from Groove Theory 62 on YouTube. They said, I'm talking to a seller who would like to sell, I guess, 2 duplex properties. One of the properties has been neglected for a while. Are there any tips you do when combining real estate?
It's one of the properties is 2 duplex. So it's 2 separate buildings is what they're saying. So a total of 4? Is that what they're saying? That's what y'all
Good
read.
question. It says, yeah, sell 2 duplex properties.
So a total of 4 units.
So 4 units.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the buildings is not livable, is what they're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So are there any tips on what to do combining? They say, well, it's 2 deals, you know, by the same owner, I'm assuming. So I know we get tired of us saying it's going to boil down to the numbers. You know, what are the rents that are being collected on the property that's functional? And then, you know, what are the market rents? Or are they already paying the market rents? What type of tenants are there? What's the taxes and insurance on the property? What will be the repair and maintenance on the property that's vacant? And are there any immediate repairs needed on the property that's rented? And then it's going to boil down to price on what they want to sell them for. And so, again, you may be able to transition that into them holding the note if it's a little overpriced or whatever, but as long as there's some upside or some value, well, it sounds like there's some value add opportunity there with the vacant property, but, you know, again, people can always ask for more than what makes sense. So you just got to run the numbers.
I agree. And I also add that a lot of times when people try to put properties together and give you one fee, you know, I easily separate the two. And I think when you're buying real estate combined, like a portfolio, they're trying to sell you both of them together with one number, I'm going to easily separate it. Well, how much you really selling this both units for? Because I got to evaluate this on both. So if you're selling me 2 of these duplexes for $100,000, but one of them is really worth 25. But if I split that you know, 100,000 divided by 2 buildings, that means I paid 50,000 per building, but one of them is only worth 25,000. So basically, what they're creating is you overpaying for one of the assets. That's why I will always separate the assets and I look at them individually. We can put it all together as one transaction at the end of the day. I want to separate them as I evaluate each one of those buildings or each one of those properties separately, and then I put both of them together. If I evaluate it and one of them worth 50 and one of them worth 25, my offer is 75,000. That's the best that I can do. Your property only worth 25 and that's worth 50. That's the real value of your assets. So I would definitely say to separate it during your due diligence period, evaluate each one of them separately according to the numbers, separate numbers, and then you can bridge those 2 prices together to make it one price.
All right, this one is from Destiny on YouTube. She said, hello, at closing, who will I give my contracts to? Do I keep just the seller's contract and give the buyer contract B to give to their title company? I let the buyer sign first, then I do my assignment fee.
Great question. So, and I'll go first. I think one of the easiest way when you get these contracts is make sure you got both of them together, because you can if you wanted to, but if you get your AB contract, which is the original seller of the home and you, and then you assign your contract, which we call a BC contract. So say, for instance, you send that AB contract to the closing attorney, but you can't find an end buyer. You could most likely accumulate a fee for pulling title and you don't close. So one of the practices that I always use is I make sure I have both of my contracts, and then I'm going to be the one to send both of those contracts because I don't want to put the deal together. I'm going to send both of them contracts to the closing attorney, and I'm going to let the closing attorney know exactly how these properties should be structured. I think Ty has a really great document for instructions to the closing attorney. So you can send that over to them with the instructions so they know exactly how to structure your deal. But I wouldn't wait. I wouldn't send one contract without your assignment contract or your end buyer contract because you can accumulate fees with the title company before you really have a deal.
Go next.
All right. All right, so the next one is on TikTok. Does it take about the same amount of time to wholesale commercial, like real estate, versus, I guess, just like the single family homes and stuff like that, versus commercial?
I will always say residential will always be quicker, simpler than commercial. Yeah.
Yeah, just generally speaking, yeah, it's going to always be faster.
Yeah.
Generally, now sometimes you can pull them off fast with commercial also, but the evaluation process and all of that is just totally different
Mhm.
than houses. And so, and a lot of times it's just as simple as being able to talk to the decision maker, which is the owner in a lot of situations, versus versus houses. So, but generally speaking, it's going to be faster.
Yeah. Even the appraisal process, commercial appraisal, you have to get an environmental report,
Oh yeah,
appraisal, commercial comparable, commercial narrative appraisal, and that alone can take 3 to 4 weeks. So that minimally causes the deal to be 30 to 40 days sometimes, especially if you get in finance. If you were doing all your due diligence and evaluations, where residential, you can close 7, 10, 15 days. So it will always be a lot quicker.
All right, this is on Instagram. I have a seller who is asking about how I should handle the earnest money, whether he or he should pick his firm for money and closing date and an inspection date. How should I structure this on my contract?
So he asking how did he structure his earnest money with his closing date?
Closing date and inspection date.
Okay, yeah. So the key is that most of the time when you're dealing with other investors and stuff like that, you have a minimum due diligence time. They may want you to do all your due diligence up front because they don't want to give you no due diligence time. But when you're dealing with a homeowner, most likely you can negotiate 7, 10, 15, 20 days. But you always want your due diligence. It's really what they allow. If they allow and say, I really want this closed out in 30 days, you may do, 14 days due diligence and then 14 days to close, or something of that nature. But of course, the closing date will be a few days probably after your due diligence period have ended. Minimally, I would say minimally probably 5 days because it takes, at least 3 to 5 days to pull title, draw closing documents and things of that nature. So I would say the closing date should at least be probably about 5 days or 3 to 5 days after the due diligence have ended.
oh they can't hear.
No, I was asking
No.
her.
Hmm.
You can
Um, what was the question?
He was asking about how he should structure his contract with the earnest money closing date and inspection. She was just going over that.
Next, you got it. Now, just don't worry about all this technical stuff. Y'all know I'm disturbed. That camera not working. Y'all know I'm already out kilter. Boy, we good. Let's get it.
All right, this is another question on Instagram. What do you normally say first when you send your SMS message out, blast out, text messaging?
Well, that's a tricky one. When a lot of the services, like I'm affiliated with Bachelor, when they started out, they suggested some templates that you use as far as that initial message, but they soon found out that they couldn't do it that way because um, because the carriers, AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, Metro, and so on, Boost, they started blocking messages because if everybody's sending similar, well, not everybody, a lot of people are sending similar messages, and thousands of them, so they go into protecting their customers mode. So they're going to have bots and algorithms to detect, those similar messages. So you have to be creative. Ideally, you don't even really want to act, well, you could, but when you're sending an initial message, you're just trying to get them to respond. Really, it doesn't even have to be real estate related. So you may say, hi, John, the sky, now I'm just being a little facetious here, but the sky's blue today, isn't it? Like, who is this? Or you might just say, hey, John, somebody sent me one on a property I hadn't owned since, oh my God, since probably 2009, and they keep sending me a text. I think they finally got it, though. They took me off the list. They said, hey, Ty, she went out. I think she was messing up. They said, hey, Tyrone. And so I finally, they said it like twice, hey, Tyrone, or hi, Tyrone. And so I finally replied, like that. Then they hit me with, hey, are you interested in selling 542, whatever the address was? I was like, I hadn't owned that property in over 10 years or whatever. They said, okay. All right, so they got me, so, but that was cool though, you know what I'm saying? Because most people that know me, that like really, they were doing it on my personal phone number, other cell phone. And most people that really know me, I already know it's some type of business or solicitation when they say Tyrone.
Yeah.
Because most people call me Ty,
Yeah.
Now, my sister, for some reason, she'll call me. Well, she called me. She say Tyrone, and my mama just go back and forth. But other than that, everybody else call me Ty. If you know me, you'll say Ty. But if you don't know me, you'll say Tyrone. So I know it's whatever. So, but I responded. They sent it. They sent it twice. Hi, Tyrone. And I ain't responded the first time. I said they don't know me, and especially it was on the personal number too. And they was like, hi, Tyrone. So I replied saying, who are you looking for? He said, I'm looking for Tyrone. Do you still own the property at such and so I'm just giving you an example on so instead of, like if you're using Bachelors, you could text the word text, T-E-X-T, and I'll show you how to set all that up. But you're going to send out, you're going to have 10 different versions of the initial message that you send out, the way the software is set up. So you may say, hi, Tyrone. Hello, Tyrone. Good day, Tyrone. How's it going, Tyrone? What up? I don't know if you say what up, but did I say hello?
Yeah.
Howdy, Tyrone. We're in the South. I think you can get away with howdy. Howdy, Tyrone. So you just go on. You have those 10 different ways of reaching out. Now, I'm just giving you an example. I ain't saying do this. It worked on me, what they did. They didn't say anything about real estate on that initial message. So get creative is what I'm saying on that initial message. And it doesn't have to be real estate related. So
Develop thick skin too, because I've gotten cussed out many times.
oh yeah, you're gonna get handled.
On that.
People will be more nastier on text than they will on cold calls.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, this one's for Renikia. He said, do you guys do consulting on funding for real estate deals? If so, how can we contact you?
A banner. Yeah, I'm gonna put your banner up. Hold on a second.
I feel that I consult by default. I do want to launch this pod, live one day where we just, talk about financing deals, and you'll be able to log in or chime in to, get your deal financed or talk about how to finance your deal from a group standpoint. But I think by default, if you have a property, by default, I'm gonna tell you exactly how to structure your deal. So I think one of the easiest, quickest way to get consulting is already have a deal, and hey, I have the deal. What should I do? How should I finance it? So I feel that I consult by default when it comes to funding, especially if you're looking for that. But you can find me by going to fundmynextdeal.com, and then of course I have my Facebook, Instagram handles, and you can email me as well. You get the consultant. If you just do business with me, I'm gonna tell you exactly. I'll
Hey,
tell you
you
exactly how to finance it and get it done. So,
yeah, you want them to win. You win, they win. You
exactly.
know.
I got to put you in the right position anyway. So I'm going to definitely consult you on that. So,
Oh yeah.
All right, this one says, I had a property owner who wants to sell, but capital gains is a pain point. I know creative financing would work, but could you touch on capital gains and a way to box in the seller's objection?
capital gains is capital gains. I think the key is Ty always say, seek a CPA for one. Exactly how to handle that. But I think one of the ways to come back is just, have another investment to put it into. Immediately put it into another investment, and it lowers your capital gains. So it's a lot of different ways to do that. I hate to have that conversation out loud because I can say a lot of things, but so I always say to see the CPA or accountant for how to handle your capital gains and what will be the best way to structure your deal. But I know if you take that money, invest it in something else, it definitely lowers that tax liability.
All right.
Boom.
This one says, can you wholesale double wides?
Yeah, you
Oh,
absolutely can. Double wise is what is it? The trailers or what's the parks? The trailer parks. I mean, that's a big deal right now these days. It's the trailer parks. So double wides, yeah, double
yeah.
wide.
You- Now the actual structure. Now with mobile homes, yes, you could definitely do it. The only thing that's tricky about mobile homes, or can be, if land doesn't come with it, or it's not in a mobile home park, it has to be moved. That could be a deal breaker. The move could cost more than what it's worth,
Mm-hmm.
right? So now the question is, if it comes with a lot or it sits on a piece of land or whatever, then really it's just a normal transaction at that point, and you have to figure out what makes it a deal. Obviously it starts with what's the true value of it, which can be a little difficult with mobile homes because what are you comparing it to? A lot of times you don't have anything to compare it to. So, but to answer the question, yes, it just depends. Does it have to be moved or not? Because mobile homes, just the mobile home itself without land attached is similar. It's more similar to the transaction of buying and selling a car than buying a house, because they have the title in hand, and you could transfer it with a bill of sale and signing that title. They don't need you. There's no closing needed, right? So part of the reason we can wholesale properties is that to do a real estate transaction, like a house or a commercial, whatever, the proper way, you're going to go through a title process / escrow, whatever it's called, and actual close on it with an attorney and or or a title company. If land is not included with a mobile home, they just show up and you could easily get cut out of the deal. So just as long as you understand that, then boom, you can make it happen. You understand those factors, you can make it happen.
All right, this is on Instagram. When working with other investors and JVing, how do you position yourself in their deal with other buyers?
Paperwork.
Yeah,
Paper.
yeah. It's simple. I think it's a few different ways to handle that. You could sign the contract. So you put the contract property under contract. You sign your own contract. You get that wholesaler and how much you want. You want 80,000. I'll put it on a contract at 80,000. Whatever I sell it for beyond that is my wholesale fee. Or you don't have to worry about doing multiple double closings because I'm pretty sure the wholesaler got a double close. You have a double closing. So if you want to minimize all of that, you and that wholesaler come together and say, hey, y'all may come up with the 50-50 structure, or you may come up with the structure of how much you want for it. Anything beyond that will be my fee. But it's all done based on paperwork, and y'all draw that up on paperwork, sign it, maybe even notarize it, and that be the structure how you always split that fee.
All right, this one is from Miriam on YouTube. She said, I have a few hours a day I can devote to cold calling, still working full time. What dialer do you recommend for roughly 1,000 leads?
Well, I'm affiliated with Batch Dollar. If you'll text me on the number, I'll gladly send you um, access to it. And we can actually get someone to onboard you, basically train you on how to use it also. So just text me if you're interested in that phone dialer. And if you don't know what she's referring to, there are actual softwares or tools out there that will speed dial numbers for you and manage it all at once. So you'll basically have like 4 lines dialing at once. It'll be dialing 4 numbers at one time, and when one of them picks up, the other 3 stop. So then it manages all of that information for you too. So so just text me if you're interested in that particular service.
All right.
Oh, Todd, what happens if 2 people answer at the same time?
It's not good. That won't happen.
Oh, okay. Exactly. Everybody answering them calls.
That's a good question. I've never heard anyone say it's happened. They figured that part out. You know what? It probably almost has to happen at some point. So one of them is probably just not going to get anything. That's a good question, because it almost has to happen. I've never had anyone to come back to me and say that it happens. So I'll run that up the ladder and have an answer for you all next week.
Okay. This one's from Alethea Hines on YouTube. She said, I'm interested in wholesaling vacant lots. There are many in my market. How much easier is it than wholesaling houses?
I don't know if it's easy. Well,
I
I know it ain't easy.
It's not.
The biggest issue that could be an issue, I ain't gonna say this, is that a lot of time with lots you don't have anything to compare to, depending on the neighborhood, right? If it's in a developing neighborhood or area of your market, it becomes a lot more simpler, because in order for them to develop a piece of land or for a subdivision, they first develop it, then they start selling the lots. Or they'll start to build a spec homes, and that's part of the transaction or whatever. But in quote unquote maybe D neighborhoods, quote unquote the hood, a lot of times you'll see a lot of vacant lots, but there are no sales compared to. So now you have the reason that we can make money as a wholesaler is because we can determine the end game. What is something worth after X, Y, and Z happens? And a lot of times with a house, what is it worth after certain renovations are performed on it? What you trying to do? Plug that up.
I got it. You're supposed to be in the tower. Right. Trying to do it.
All right, they're supposed to go on the side where the mouse at. On the other side. The mouse on the side. All right. Well,
I got it. You the talent.
all right. Okay. All right. So anyway, we're talking about lots. So that's the biggest thing, Alethea, is that what if you can figure out what the end game, what it will appraise, well, not really appraise, but what is it worth? You don't have to do anything to it a lot of times. So if you can figure that out, then now you can backdoor it and say, if it's worth $100,000, can I get it for 50? So yeah, you could probably find a buyer for it. Now the county records will give a value, but it's sort of hard to go by that because they're doing it just for tax reasons. They have to put an amount on it so they can say, hey, this is what we're taxing. This is what percentage of that value that we say it's worth we put on. But they do the same thing with houses, property or whatever. But a lot of times the value of the house is a lot more than the market value as far as taxes. Not always, but sometimes it is. So it's more difficult. This is what I'm getting to. Any input on that, Renee?
Right. No. You're absolutely right. I think land is more difficult. I won't say difficult, but it's not as easier as wholesaling properties with houses on it. First and foremost, although everyone, like, new construction always been a thing, but I think it's becoming a thing. And everyone is like, hey, let's build. But I think there's actually more buyers for houses than there are vacant land too. because a lot of investors don't want to build a vacant piece of land. Why? Because there's a lot more goes into that. You have to get permits, renderings, you have to get architectural plans, you have to, make sure you're building what you're building, you have to get that permitted, you have to also get the infrastructure in place. So it's like extra money that has to be done when you're talking vacant lots. And that's why I feel like a lot of investors shy away from it. Not saying there's not a pool of investors who want vacant properties, but I guarantee it's probably more that's probably buy a property with a house on it before they buy a vacant piece of land. So you have to deal with it's just more efficiency for houses too. So it makes it easier to sell wholesale houses as well. And then just you don't know what they're gonna build on it. They may want to build a $100,000 house, and you may have a vision for $500,000. You structure your sale for a $500,000 house. That's not the vision of the end buyer. So there's a lot that goes into that. But if you have the buyers that want to buy land, figure out what you can sell it for, and because there's still a lot of opportunity, especially today, when I think and I know here in Georgia it is, and I think many other states around America, it's a seller's market right now. So whatever you build, whatever you put out there is selling right now. So it's not always a seller's market, but right now it is. And I think it's a great time for for new construction.
And I guess what you could do, you could research to see transactions that have occurred on lots in a particular area. Sometimes you may have to go back, instead of going back 12 months, you may have to go back 2 or 3 years to see. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but you can then reach out to those people that made those purchases and see why they made those purchases, and are they still making purchases of that type. So I guess that you could always do that, as far as your due diligence. You could build a buyer's list and then go out there and find what they want or whatever, and see what areas they are interested in buying, vacant lots.
And you have to also predict the best use for the property. You have to predict the best use. So, in order for you to position yourself as a, wholesaling the land, you have to know what is the best use. You have to almost know the numbers of what the builder is going to build to even position yourself in it too. So just be mindful of that part.
All right, this one's from Christina Williams. She said, in what circumstances would you need to double close? And she also asked, for foreclosure homes, are there certain homes I should stay away from?
I can take the first question. So double closing, honestly, I probably 100% of my closings are double closing when it comes to that. Only because I think it really depends on if your end buyer and your buyer, and everyone understand you're signing it, you're signing it, they're not trying to negotiate it. I have experienced a few times where when you put that assignment fee there for all parties to see, they begin to negotiate you, because now everybody at the closing table, they saying you ain't did enough for the fee that you're trying to transact. So now you got to defend your fee and stuff like that. I don't have time to defend my fee. So double closing, I'll pay an extra $500-$600 so I don't have to defend my fee. And everybody gets to the closing table and everybody wins. But in my case, I feel like every one of my cases, I'm going to double close. But if you know your end buyer, I think Ty is Gator is I don't know what. So I think he don't mind showing that assignment fee. But just you got to know these parties, because trust me, if they don't know what's going on, they see that fee, somebody's gonna negotiate. So what you say, Tom?
I don't give a flip.
You got to get game like that, but you got to be willing to walk away too. You feel me? And I know Ty willing to walk away if he needs to.
Well, as she said, she's really never had issues because she is double close. You're less likely to have issues. Hey, the seller, we agreed on the price, and they getting it. The buyer, we agreed on the price, and they're getting it. And but on the buyer side, hey, I want you to feel like I'm an asset to you, to your operation, right? So I'm in this to make money. Sometimes you're gonna pay me more than what you want to pay, and sometimes you ain't gonna pay me as much as I think you should have paid me. So it's gonna balance out, So, but both work, obviously. So, to answer the question, obviously both work.
All right, back on Instagram. What do you think? No,
Oh, that's a
How do you,
second question then.
was it another one?
What kind of,
Oh, here you go.
hold on. Are there certain homes I should stay away from for foreclosure homes?
I
Well,
wouldn't say stay away, but what do you say, Tom?
yeah, just we're talking about wholesaling here, so it's possible to wholesale a foreclosure, but you just have to have the right type of buyer. And what does that mean? I call them lazy buyers. Somebody just basically just has money, don't want to do literally nothing. You know what I'm saying? Go out and find me some deals. So they're not really caring if they can Google it and find it on the internet and boom. So if you could find those individuals, holler at me too. So, but that ain't the way how it normally works. You know, it starts with, again, you got to have the right type of buyer you can pull it off, right? That don't care. You beat me to it, I'll still go through you to buy it. You know, if you got one of those, I was being facetious, but if you got a buyer like that, you beat me to it, you negotiated a better deal than what we thought we could negotiate, we'll still buy it from you. Okay, but one of the still problems with it is that the bank or the lender, whereas when you're dealing with just Joe Blow, the seller, right, just a regular person that owns real estate, you control him. You know, they're gonna do what you say, basically. Not this case where you're dealing with banks. They're gonna control the entire process. They're gonna have a real estate agent involved. They're gonna want $1,000 earnest money in most cases, if not more. They're gonna want proof of funds, right? They're gonna manage that HUD and everything before it's approved. It's gonna probably go through two or three hands. So ain't no assignment fees gonna be there. You're not gonna be able to double close it, right? Because they're not going to. Well, let me put it like that: you could double close if you bring transactional funding to the table. But that's a different ball game. But again, that still goes back to: do you have the right buyer for that? Because it's not like you're finding something that they haven't probably already been aware of. Again, if they're okay with you still negotiating a great deal before they got to it, then boom, you got a buyer that'll work with you on it because you basically beat them to it. You know, even though it was advertised to the world. I guess it's still odd to me. People, when they hear the word foreclosure, they automatically feel like it's a discount, a significant discount, and sometimes it is. But in this day and age, this is not 1995, where only realtors had access to that information. That stuff is blasted to the world, and lenders got smart years ago that, hey, we can still almost get retail for this stuff. You know what I'm saying? You know, because a lot of times it's still in really good condition. And so you're not really a lot of times getting it discounted. And the biggest thing is people, the thing that follows foreclosure, maybe I'm wrong on this, they think like it's a secret. No, it's not a secret. It's probably one of the more advertised properties, period, of foreclosure, because it's going through a real estate agent's hand. You know,
And it has to be advertised by a real estate agent.
yeah, that's advertised to the world. So to answer the question, there are easier deals out there, Christina, period. There are easier deals out there than foreclosures. They're very competitive for a number. You got investors possibly at them, and you got retail buyers at them, people that want to live in the property. They're very competitive.
And the number one thing, banks are not selling them at a discount, like you say. They are getting a BPO, getting it appraised somewhere, and they're selling it for market value out there. So they definitely gonna render the money that they need to render, and they are going to sell it at market value.
All right, this is on Instagram. How do you keep your buyer from undercutting you with the seller?
But that's what the contract is supposed to be for. You know, Jessica always says, shady is the word. Yeah, if you have a buyer that's shady, you also got to have a seller that's shady. So they've signed a contract with you. Now, you can have a shady buyer or shady wholesaler, it could be a wholesaler too. They could possibly blow your deal up, right? And they don't sell to you or them. That could possibly happen. But it's not that often that I feel that, just from my experience, people I know quite a few people, that you're going to have both to do that. Because most people know if they sign a purchase and sales agreement, a contract, period, they have to at least give you time to perform, right? But again, you know, by that shady buyer or wholesaler, whatever, they could reach out to that seller and possibly blow the deal up, you know, trying to be shady. So, but the purpose of your contract, one of the purposes is so they do have to come through you.
And I would say this, don't be the shady wholesaler. You know, you think you let me cut him out the deal, let me make money, but what you're doing, you're cutting yourself from future money. You know, because wholesaler, this wholesale community is small, man. Every community, I mean, every state and every community, we all kind of know who out here moving and shaking in our local area. And that information travel really fast. So if you snake someone, they're gonna tell somebody else, gonna tell somebody else. The next thing you know, all of the people, a lot of people in the community know that you're that shady wholesaler, and nobody want to do business with you. I done seen it happen 10 times over. Atlanta is the scam of all scams of all cities. I done seen it happen 10 times over, and honestly, you people will stop wanting to do business with you. So you think you get a good deal, but you're really cutting yourself from future money. You know?
Yeah, it's amazing how someone's mind works like that. That's just one deal.
It's one deal.
That's
That's
just
one
one
deal.
deal. You know,
That you keep that relationship, y'all can make so much money.
yes.
Over years, over years. But when you snake a person one time, you'll never be able to make money with them like that. So just be mindful when you're doing that type of business. You're cutting yourself off from future. Your future upside is shortened just because you try to cut somebody on this one deal.
All right, we're back on Instagram. Any advice on creating a wholesale course? This person was in wholesaling for 4 years and already teaching, I guess, his friends.
Well, I guess I might know a little something about that.
I think that's a new scam. That's a new situation on social media. Everybody got a course. Everybody gonna course themselves to riches.
Yeah, man, it's
Did I tell you that the other day?
yeah.
Everybody got a course. Everybody, you know.
And then they
I'm gonna
said,
say this though. Anybody can tell you anything. They can start something tomorrow. That means they can start something yesterday and talk to you about it today. But real mentors have seen seasons. And if you haven't seen those seasons, they can only teach you so much. You know, real business, you've been in this business 5, 10, really more like 10 years plus. You have seen almost every season. And when you want to learn from someone, you want to learn from someone who have seen all these seasons. So we get to a point where it's only so much you have seen, only so much that you have, that you can see in any industry. So when you deal with someone have seen 80, 90% of it, any situation you in, they know exactly how to pivot out of it, exactly how to teach you how to get through it. But if you're dealing with a mentor or these Insta gurus, you're dealing with these people who ain't seen half of what needs to be seen to even be truly successful in the game. It's only so much they can teach you. So I think anybody can sell you anything. I think you as the buyer has to do your research on who you're getting bed with to know that who's teaching you has the longevity to be able to teach you what need to be taught. However, I seen something on Instagram and everyone was like, well, if you made something happen, why can't you teach me exactly what you did? So obviously everybody want to get taught something, and there's room for everyone to teach somebody something, I guess. So what do you say, Tyler?
Well, what he asked how to put something together.
Yeah, he said he's. Oh, let me get the microphone. He said he's been teaching his friend, I guess. Well, he's been doing wholesaling for 4 years. Where did it go?
So I guess he sort of sound like me. How we ended up here right now is I was just people that I care about, that I consider friends, family. They start to see your lifestyle may change a little bit. They want to know what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? So I would sit down and spend 30 minutes, an hour, and try to go through as much as I possibly could. And they wouldn't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? So I came to the conclusion, hey, if I spend that much time trying to educate someone on this process, I think I need to be compensated for it. Guess what the price started out at with me?
Oh, I don't even know.
$97. I would sit down with you for about
They got
2
a
hours.
one-on-one. They got the one-on-one there.
All that.
And as you should be, I respect that because it's not anybody can afford to lose 97. I don't care if you know what you're talking about or not. But you want to get out here and charge people $4,000, $5,000, $10,000 for something just learning, I think, and not, I think that's very fair. It's like, hey, I got something, I know something, I can teach you
Hey,
something,
Renika,
but
that was a long time
That's
ago.
what I said. Let them know that that's not the person that they're determining.
I want the $97 deal.
I don't even want you to cash out me 97. That's a question.
exactly the type of stuff we did when we first got out. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, so what the way I went about it, now you don't have to do this, and I don't consider myself by no means the most successful person out there putting this content out here, but the way I went about it, and the only way I really knew, because I was, I ain't nobody, still ain't, but definitely back then, is that I wanted to, it was a hobby. First of all, let's establish this. This internet stuff, internet marketing, all this stuff, that's an interest to me, right? Number one. So when I discovered YouTube, I was like, wow, this is amazing. And so, like how I got interested outside of my friend mentioned it to me, I was sparked by Carlton Sheets. And so you would see his infomercials and they'll say, hey, I made this much money, blah, 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 but how did you make the money? So when I started putting out content, I didn't want to be like that. And I'm not putting anyone down that goes about it in that way. So I just, hey, I'm going to tell you what I know about it. I'm going to come up with a topic, do a video. If some of y'all go back to some of the older videos, you can see, and if that wasn't enough for you or wasn't fast enough for you, then we can start talking about getting my actual time, and that costs something. And over time, that has increased as far as being able to being able to provide that time. So, but I still like it. Like Jessica and I, we're on a little venture here that's somewhat related to this, but it has to do with internet marketing, but it's a potential another stream of income. So people will say, and I said this yesterday, they say, well, you're making so much money, doing deals, how you have time to do all this stuff? So I don't even think I finished what I was going into. I said, well, let me ask you this. If someone paid you $1,000 every time you spelled your name, would you be interested?
Exactly.
Talking about this stuff is like me spelling my name.
Right.
So why wouldn't I accept money to do it, especially if I put all this energy and time into it to set up any money that I make from this Flipman stuff? Number one, I never thought it would get to this point. Never, nothing, because it was a hobby that turned into something else. But it's another stream of income. Why would you turn down another stream of income if you had the time to put in it?
Right.
Period. So the ideally where we all want to be, and we have some form of income, is that when you're making money in your sleep. That is a beautiful thing. Trust me. Normally, most people, you have to be up to make money. But when you're making money in your sleep, that is a beautiful thing.
That's next level. That's the goal.
I don't know, but to answer his question, just start producing content, man. Don't worry about the course part of it. Build a following, add value. And I get this, and I was doing it, but I didn't know I'd do it. I followed Gary Vee. Just continue to jab. That's value. And some money may fall out. It will fall out because you build credibility because you're offering more than what you're asking for. That's my best advice for you. Always produce or give more than what you're asking for, and you'll be okay. So, but you got to have a lot of patience. Got to be willing to put the work in and putting that content out. You've been doing it 4 years. You're knowledgeable about the process. You know what you're doing. So just start putting out content on what you know, and as you grow, put out more content. But it takes time. Study YouTube and all these platforms, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and how they operate. And just maximize those. Those are free eyeballs. That's where the eyeballs are at, in those 4 or 5 places. So just start putting out content and value, and people will want to reach out to you and see how they can work with you, and what does that cost. And on the other side of it, when I started doing this, I wanted to put out content because now I've met people like Renika, and we made some money together. You know what I'm saying? So that's another layer of it, that you're able to network with people all over the country or whatever because of this beautiful invention called the internet.
All right. This one says, hey, y'all, it's on YouTube. Do I have the buyers come all at the same day and time so I don't bother the seller? Ooh, it's given they don't need to know your business.
The buyers, no, you don't want all your buyers to meet. You got to you really don't want all your buyers to meet, but you definitely don't want your buyers and sellers to meet. There may, I done pulled up to properties and all of us there looking at the property. To be honest with you, it kind of creates a level of competition too. Like, okay, it's a lot of people, it creates that level of competition. But some people is like, okay, she got too much going on, or he got too much going on, and too many people not trying to get into a bidding war, so I'm gonna fall out anyway. So it's a lot of nuances to that. You've got all your buyers together, and now people realizing that you got all these buyers, and nobody really wants to get into a bidding war. So some of your buyers may just fall out by default because you got all that going on. Your buyer and seller, you definitely don't want your buyer and seller to meet. So you want to figure out how to control that. If the seller just has to be there, you got to figure out how to control that conversation as well.
Yeah,
because
you have all those.
you're the buyer.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
No, I'll say you have all those buyers show up and the sellers there. You can't manage all of that.
Can't manage all that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You
That's
can't
gonna get
manage
out of
all of
control.
that.
That's gonna get out of control.
Yeah,
Somebody going, people on network. That's what people do. They're gonna ask who you are, And as soon as they say I'm the seller, your deal almost blowed up because now the first of all, the seller think you the seller. I mean, seller think you the buyer. So now you got 5, 6 buyers showing up. So that creates the red flags to buyer too. To the seller.
Oh yeah. Real quick, we got a good number in here right now. You want to partner with me? Text the word units. Units, doesn't matter if you're in a small town or not. That's clear.
Yeah.
Units to 205-964-5243. Trying to target some self-storage stuff. So small towns are in play on this one. Let's get it. That video will explain.
Okay, this one is from our friend Brianna. She said, I know that a license isn't necessary. However, do you think that the things you learned in order to attain it is beneficial to someone who is brand new to the real estate world?
That's for you, Renika.
I don't understand the question.
She's basically saying, should she get a
Even
real
though you don't
estate
need a
license if
is it
she's
beneficial?
trying to be an investor? Like, is the real estate license going to help you be a better investor, real estate investor?
I wouldn't say it's going to help you be a better investor, but I think, I think going to real estate school just heighten your knowledge of real estate. Now you went to school, now you understand verbiage and jargons that you may not understood. I think it helps you heighten it. Do you need a license to really invest? No, you don't. However, I would say how I utilize my license to my benefit that a lot of real estate agents don't do is really I use my license more to wholesale than I did to really represent homeowners. So when I approach people as a realtor, because that's who I am, most likely they're going to give me all their real estate and they're going to do business with me. So I use my license as kind of a dangle a little bit for people to trust me and do business with me. And then then the buyer's going to trust and do business with me because they think that I got all the real estate. So it allowed me to attract the people that I needed because I had this license. That I utilized it a lot to invest? Not really. Outside of pulling comps, maybe putting properties back on the market if someone wants to flip it, or just being able to see properties on the market and do my own research that I didn't have to call another real estate agent to do. That was beneficial to me. But as a brand new realtor, you can really learn all of this watching these YouTube channels. And, Ty has 300, 400, 500 videos. You can really learn that doing that. But if you just feel the need to just go to school and somebody teach you something, Okay, go to school and get your license, because, some people just learn like that. You learn better someone teaching it to you versus you sitting down teaching yourself. But I would say this, that license, that instructor would never teach you real estate investing. All they're going to teach you is just an overview and understanding of what real estate transactions and all that is and being a realtor.
Yeah. If I was a realtor, like Renika said, she's an investor first,
Right.
and just the license just helps us open
Yeah.
some doors that just being an investor wouldn't. Most realtors are realtors and maybe doing a little investing or none at all or whatever, but the license should be secondary. It's just another tool that you have to help your investment, because that's where you're gonna make more money for most real estate agents. Obviously you can make a really good living as an agent, but you can make more. There are no billionaire agents.
Right.
Now, there may be
And it's
some
transactional based.
Yeah.
So when you stop working, if you decide to not work for 3 months, it's not working. It's that license is not working for you unless you're a broker.
Yeah.
So it's transactional based. So it doesn't leave you with, some type of retirement plan at the end of the day. So you have to. Every real estate agent, you have to take that license, that information. You've got to invest in real estate. If not, you'll be transacting and trying to represent realtors 60, 70, 80 years old, just because, that's how you make your money to operate on day to day. So I think every real estate agent at some point in time get an aha moment, like I got to invest because I'm tired. I need this money to work for me. I'm tired of dealing with these homeowners who ain't never got stuff together. So at some point, you just want to invest and allow your money to come back through cash flow or investments and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, well, let me be clear on that. There are no billionaire agents that are not investors. Let me say that. Because I was saying, hey, I know this guy on this front going on, but anyway, they doing investing. They just not. Well, you know what? I guess some of the larger firms on the commercial side, some of them outfits may be worth a few billion, but I'm talking
You
about
gotta have a lot of
residential.
transactions. You gotta be in places like a California. You're talking about the average piece of real estate is $600,000, $700,000, $800,000.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's a different level. But you in a place like Atlanta, yes, we got a few millionaire real estate agents, but 80% of our properties are not $1 million properties. They are less than $500,000 property. So how many of those you have to really transact to get to $1 million or 2 or 3 or whatever? So.
All right, we're back on Instagram. What do I do when the owner of a vacant home recently passed away with no will and it isn't in a probate yet?
It has to go
Well,
through probate.
no, you don't kiss. No, you ain't got to kiss it goodbye. You got to find out what the deal is. Okay, all right. So they dead, and I'm sorry.
Why you say it like that?
They're no longer here with us. I'm sorry.
So they did.
So now we got to figure out who are the heirs. Okay, we know they don't have a will, so now we got to figure out who the heirs are. All right. So if it's 4 kids, or now we got to ask the question: are all of those still alive? Right.
Right.
If they are, okay, good. Now we got a baseline we can work on. All right. So now can we reach all of them? All right. So we can do that. All right. Do they all want to sell? Because they all got to decide on it. Right. Okay. So now we can work on that. Do they want to sell at a price? Do they all want to sell at a price that works for us? For you and them, obviously. You got that? Then they can make it happen. Title company, closed term can make it happen. The problem is you got those 4 people. One of them has been deceased. They had 3 kids. One of them dead. They had 2. It just start just going and on and on and on. So it might be some work in there to do it. So that's the issue with when there's no will. That once you go peel back all those air layers, hopefully you can get to a group of individuals that all want to sell. And I had one down in Tuscaloosa recently, and the sister said she actually bought the house for her parents, right? And they showed it to me. Her and other sister, but the sister that lived in Nashville, actually the parents, did they have a will? I don't know what it was, but anyway, did they deed it over to her before they died? It was something like that, but anyway, they made it clear we had to go through her. So when I reach out to her, well, I sent her a contract, or they gave me an email address, I sent her a contract over. So she never signed it. So I got the call, I just out of the blue, she said, Mr. Taylor, I hear you want to buy our house. I said, yeah, I sent you a contract over. She said, well, I never got that. I said, yeah, your sister said, she let you know. She said, she never told me anything about this. I'm just hearing your name today. That was like a whole week later after I had sent the contract over. And I said, yeah. She said, well, what do you want to buy it for? I said, we've already decided on that. We said $60,000. She said, we hadn't talked about any price. We know we can get more than that.
So
So I was like, what are we doing here? Because the other sister, like, I paid for this house, even though it's in my other sister's name, I paid for this house. So I got told, but you got to go through her. But trust me, we're going to be okay. That she made it clear. So I thought we were all on the same page. That was 2 months ago. I ain't heard from her. I reached out to her recently. She didn't respond. Well, she did respond back. Say she was going through her attorney. Her attorney said they can get more for the house. If you want to make another offer, Mr. Taylor, you can. I said, I didn't want to pay the 60.
Right.
I said, I was questioning that. So that's the offer.
Okay.
So that's what happens. I mean, and also from my understanding, if there's no will, or the house is not in a trust, it has to go through the estate and the probate in some type of cases. Upon your death, your assets have to be divided, and creditors are coming after what it is that they're coming after, and everything goes to your estate. So if it's not in the will, it wasn't deeded over, and it's not in a will, it's not in a trust, then it has to go through her estate. So I'm not for sure why it's not in probate. If she died and had no will, it has to go through her estate. That's the only way they began to divide the assets up.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And
Yeah.
then once you deed it over, then
Yeah.
that's how you get out of it. You deed it over, or add a survivor person onto the deed upon your death, or it has to be in a trust. That's the only way you're gonna skip probate.
Yeah. I forgot about the topic, or at least what the thumbnail says. 10,000 per month wholesaling houses in your PJs. It's called virtual wholesaling, guys. Right? And if you're not familiar with that term, it's basically wholesaling properties outside of your city, where your general area is. It's too far to drive, basically, right? So that opens up the entire country for you. Some of you all that are watching are in very small towns, and it's just not going to be enough activity there for you to wholesale properties consistently. So what's the alternative? And even if you're in a large market, nothing limits you from being just in that market. The internet is a beautiful thing, and there's a lot of ways you can network. So you'll do basically the same things you would do to generate leads in your local area, right? But the only thing that you have to put in place is someone with boots on the ground to assist you, like we were talking about earlier, where you may have a house where the seller does not give you access to it. They may still live there. Well, sometimes it's vacant and they won't give you access to it without them being there. So now, whenever buyers go out to take a look at it, the seller's going to be there. So that needs to be someone there to represent you, unless you just really have a good relationship with a buyer. But if you're just starting out as a virtual wholesaler, normally that doesn't exist. So now you need someone to assist you. That's the piece of the puzzle that helps you put that part of a deal together. So you can work with other wholesalers, right? Agents, or if this is an option, with friends and family members. So that allows you now to extend your wholesale business into multiple markets. That's one of the I guess the pluses over flipping versus fix flipping and flipping versus wholesaling. It'll be very difficult for me to put a crew together and manage it in Detroit, and I'm here in Birmingham trying to do a fix and flip, right? Versus if I just tried to wholesale that same deal, I just need to probably just have, like I said, another wholesaler, a realtor, someone just to do a small task for me to put a deal together. So wholesaling, 10,000 per month wholesaling houses in your PJs. So imagine even if you were only getting 5,000 per deal and you were wholesaling, you live in Memphis, but you're wholesaling in, we'll just say Atlanta, or you're wholesaling in Miami. You know, can you get 5,000 from Atlanta? Can you get
Absolutely.
5,000 from Miami? Can you get 5,000 from Memphis? Yes, that allows you to do that. So there's no limit on where you can market your business, as long as you put the network and individuals in place to assist you with just the small things, because you are not there. But you'll do the same marketing techniques. You can cold call. If you're in Memphis, you can cold call to Atlanta. You can cold call to Miami. You can cold call to Birmingham, Nashville, LA, wherever you want to. Wherever you want to build lists. If you want to do text messaging, you can do that. If you want to do direct mail, you could do that. If you want to run Facebook ads, Google AdWords, you could do that. So again, as long as you put that one piece of the puzzle into play, the world is yours, and 10,000 a month is nothing in your drawers.
Not so draw.
Anything you want to add to that, baby girl?
No, you hit it on the head. You hit it on the head. I mean, it's so doable. I think, there's a lot of money to be made in this, but if you treat it like a hustle, you're gonna get hustle money. But if you treat it like a business and you really dive in, if you want to go into Atlanta market and you're in Memphis, you really got to dive in and really get your team together in that market. Because when you dive in and get your team together, the sky is the limit. I mean, the sky is not even the limit; it's really beyond the sky. Because now you got boots on the ground, and all you got to do is sit home and find these properties via the internet. And as soon as you find it, get someone within your field team to go out there, take a look at it, take pictures. Now you market it to your end buyer. It's a lot can be done by doing that. But I say, go in if you're really going to do that virtually. Go in, build your team in these areas, so you can really go out there and really execute on a large level. Because once you get that team, it's really endless of what you really can create in any city. So.
Boom. So we've been rolling hard, guys, here. We had some technical difficulties in the beginning, but we got it ironed out for now. Renika, tell them how they can reach you.
Thank you. As always, I'm super honored to be a part of the Flipman Show. My name is Renikia. I own a private lending company called Capital Demand and also advisory company. And my goal is to help you understand how to finance your deals. You want to take it to the next level, or you just need to leverage your credit to just invest into getting the tools and getting your tools and material that you need to even be a successful wholesaler. At some point in time, you have if you have a good credit score, you go get a $10,000 credit card. What can you possibly do if you're a wholesaler off a $10,000 credit card? You can really take that to another level. So being able to leverage your credit to invest back into yourself, exactly what we specialize. If you ever want to take your business or your real estate business to another level, fix and flip, buying whole, new construction, rental, development, commercial properties, we are asset-based lenders. We do not require tax returns, income verification. We're not calling your employer to see if you have a job. We are lending based on the value of the asset. But if you're interested in any of our funding deals, just go to findmynextdeal.com. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram, or you can email me.
All right, boom. So, guys, we really appreciate everyone that participated tonight. Hopefully we got your questions answered. If we didn't, you can always post them in the comments section of any of my YouTube videos. I answer those on a daily basis. Remember, if you want to partner with me, text the word units. Let's get these self-storage facilities from these mom and pops. Small towns are in play. So text the word units to 205-964-5243. If you want to train with us through Dealulator.com, if you sign up for PropStream through Dealulator, we'll offer a 30-minute free training so you can understand how to use that tool to make money. So text the word TIME, T-I-M-E. Subscribe to the channel, like this, please share it. Follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. What else we got? Did I miss anything?
I think that's it.
So I guess we'll see you all Monday. And we'll see you on the flip side.
Bye.
Text me and I'll text you back.
Text me, then I'll text you back.
Text me, then I'll text you back.
You text me, then I'll text you back.
Text me, then I'll text you back.
TikTok, you don't stop.
I will help you make your paper stack.
Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Where you at now?
205-964-5243. Now you know 205.